We join them with our Cuban brothers and sisters who 1 year ago paid tribute to the victims of the Tiananmen Square massacre at the monument to the Chinese fallen in the Cuban War of Independence in Havana in June 4, 2008. Like our counterparts on the island, as students we feel a connection to those Chinese students who exercise their fundamental rights to associate and speak freely in defense of democracy and human rights. Many paid the highest price for freedom with their very lives. On June 3rd to the 4th, 1989, the Chinese military extrajudicially executed thousands of unarmed students and workers violently, crushing the non-violent student-initiated mass demonstrations. We will never forget this heinous crime. 20 years later, China remains one of the most repressive regimes on the planet. Christians, Tibetans, Falun Gong practitioners, and people of other faiths are systematically persecuted. Freedom of expression and association are systematically denied, and censorship is ever present. We repudiate the brutal actions of the government of Communist China and call on the civilized world to hold accountable all those responsible for this atrocity, that a full investigation with the participation of international human rights organizations be carried out, and that justice be provided for the Chinese people, slaughtered 20 years ago inside and outside of the Tiananmen Square and their families. We call on the democracies of the world to stand with the Chinese people in their desire to be free and have their human rights respected, recognizing that the advancement of Chinese relations with democracies of the world depends on the advancement of human rights in China. Finally, we call for the immediate release of all Chinese prisoners of conscience, and in particular those still in prison for taking part in the 1989 Tiananmen Square demonstrations and that remain in prison 20 years later.